live streamed, I hope. Yeah, it says so. So yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay. All right, so we're live. Usually not many people join in the live stream. They join in the call, but just in case. Okay. All right. I think I have everything set up. Whoa, it's full room today, yeah? The three of us.
Yeah, with a full agenda as well.
You're quite the comedian, eh?
And it's it's a pity that I cannot I'm not as good in English as in Spanish, but
Trust me, you're good enough.
but yeah, like I like to be joking all the time. Jonas knows better. Yeah, he knows me well now.
Where are you two based?
Yes.
Sorry?
Where are you both based?
I'm based in Spain, south of Spain,
I'm-
Badajoz. Yeah,
And I'm in
close
Denmark.
to Portugal.
Ah, awesome. Awesome.
How about
It's
you?
actually my first meeting today. I'm based in Cape Town.
Nice.
Nice. Nice. Where is it? Where is it based? You say? Where are you based, sir?
In Cape Town, South Africa.
Ah, Cape Town. Okay. Okay. I was expecting the name of a country, and I was like, Cape. Which country is this one? I need to go back to. I need to get back to geography, right?
It's like as soon as we finish like college or something like that, that went out of that ear.
Oh yeah, that goes to the back, to that forget back.
Exactly.
I forget that, yeah.
We have Google for that now.
Exactly. We only have to remember how to type Google.
Exactly. Actually, there's somebody who made a website. I think it's called LGM. Let me Google that for you. So if somebody asks you a specific question, you just type them a link for let me Google that.
you can send a link to a Google search. Yeah.
Yeah. Funny.
I like this
That's
one.
the most passive aggressive thing I've seen.
Yeah, it will be perfect.
This one, I know this one precisely from Twitter as well. So yeah, when people want to reply, when people ask stupid questions, and then it's like, let me Google that for you, and they send this link, which is a link to a Google search. I love it. Okay, so hello Suvik, Heiko, and Ismail. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you. I got the baby behind me, so I'm muted just in case you hear some extra noises.
No problem. I also have a baby right about here, so but it's just quiet now. So, but just in case, yeah.
Hello, and same for me.
I like it. What's happening? We're having a lot of people with kids in the calls lately. It's another baby boom.
Not right babies anymore, but still very loud.
I was thinking like maybe confinement, like we were all confined and bored, and then things happened. Okay, so cool. So let me, I don't think I have to accept anyone else. Yeah, okay, so let's get started. Let me share the screen. All right. First of all, apologies for not being Lucas. So Lucas usually knows how to run these meetings. It's been a while that I don't run any community meeting, but from time to time, he has to take some time off. And yeah, so he has to get some rest. So yeah, I'm doing this today. So Jonas, you're usually joining all the meetings, so please, if you have to jump in and correct me about something, and I mean, not just you, anyone else, but feel free, because yeah, it's been a long time. First of all, let's get to the agenda, to this packed agenda, as I was telling Jonas that we don't have an agenda today, so nobody added any item, but I know that at least Jonas wants to talk about something or show something. And Heiko, you said you want to talk about a parser issue. So let me just open this here.
Yeah, this is one of my issues, but let's make this one first. This is a pretty small one.
Okay. Okay, so who wants to start first?
Not me. I'll go
Not
last
you?
whenever we have time for it.
Okay. So Heiko, maybe you want to.
Yeah, I'm working on a code generator, and at this point I tried Modelina, and there I've seen if I have a complex schema with a lot of subtypes, I will lose the schema IDs. So at this point, I wrote some code to generate XParser schema IDs out of the unnormalized JSON schema, because at the point where you put it to the normalizer, you lose all the schema IDs of non-root nodes. So this is the first point, and also for arrays and so on, you have no good class names. Everything is called like anonymous class. And therefore, I wrote some code to generate good IDs where no ID is given.
So honestly, myself, I have an idea, but Jonas, I know that you're involved in the conversation, so maybe you want to say something.
Yeah, it's one of those difficult issues because like the anonymous ID that is given by the parser is kind of like a backup because rarely they are ever given a specific ID, but you kind of need it in code generation in order to generate anything. So the anonymous ID is just our backup, but it's a bad backup, so to say, because nobody can use like anonymous IDs in production, at least, because it's super sketchy. The problem about trying to define better IDs, in my opinion, is that JSON schema doesn't define data structure. It doesn't give you that these are the properties and these are the subclasses and whatever. It's validation rules. And because it's static validation rules, you cannot rely on the specific structure of the JSON schema document to generate the IDs, because that structure could change, but the underlying structure of the data does not, if that makes sense. Which means that at some point in the past, I tried to fix this by doing exactly what I think you want to do in terms of naming the structure, or the what's it called, like the hierarchy. What's it called in English? I can't, like the word hierarchical, like
Hierarchy.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like the hierarchy of of how it's defined and using those names instead. But I can't remember, what exactly are you looking to achieve? Is it to remove the anonymous IDs completely, or is it?
Yes, it's just to remove the anonymous IDs when no real ID was given. And at the moment, this code do the same like the Open API generator. They're also generated by the hierarchy if there are none IDs given.
How does OpenAPI handle that? I can't
Same way.
remember.
Same way as I did. I copied more or less the way they do it.
Proper idea using first level schemas are often used a similar use in the name.
Sure, I'm totally with you. You always should give good IDs. But in my use case, I'm not a schema owner. I'm only responsible for the tooling.
Yeah. And that's a big problem, because then you can't, and it's the same with consumers of APIs. If you haven't any control over the schemas, you kind of don't want to go in and manually edit these IDs just to have a better code generation experience. It's kind of have to be there from the start. For string element.
I was just wondering, like the anonymous ID starts with X dash or something like that, or not?
No, they're always called anonymous plus minus upcounting number.
Okay.
And
So
I already discussed it in a Slack chat with Berg. I don't know if he is online here, or may remember.
With Lucas, no, but he's not here. No. So I was thinking that maybe we should make these names either add an option to the parser to say like don't generate any.
Yeah, this I did it optional because of this issue.
Yeah, and the other one could be that we make the anonymous IDs to start with something, I don't know, like dash ID dash generated or something like that. So you can easily filter them, right? Like something obvious that nobody will use, and then you can just filter them. And if an ID is starting by dash generated, then you know that you can simply skip this one. It's not the real one.
Would not work in my use case because I target Modelina with let me generate Java classes, and Java classes are not allowed to start with dash. Then you have to choose some word or something like this. Like, yeah, if they call them all generated, I don't know if that's a good idea. If you are the API consumer, you want to have speaking class names.
Yes, but what I meant is precisely like you don't. So this once will be ignored by Modelina completely, right? Like if it starts by dash generated or something like that, then Modelina will simply ignore them and will not generate that.
Then you will end up with completely broken code. So at the moment, Modelina generates a lot of classes called anonymous class. So it's not ignored, it's still generated.
Yes. So what you suggest is that we name them as like the hierarchy, right? Following the hierarchy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see you already have code working, Heiko. Do you mind putting it into a PR instead? Because it's much easier to discuss like actual changes that you're suggesting.
Sure, it's on. I did a pull request, not?
Oh, you did?
Yeah, sure.
I don't see it though.
There is a lot of code.
But there's no pull request attached to or in the parser repository. At least I can't find that.
No, there's no pull request here.
Oh, okay. Maybe I not started a pull request, but I created the code. I will provide you the link.
That's fine. No worries.
Yeah, I can see you have it in your own fork, so it's there as commits. So I think
Yeah, if you want to review it now, you can just see it in my own repository. I will open pull requests as soon as possible, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, we don't take decisions on the meetings. So take your time. No worries. So we only discuss things on meetings, but we don't take any decisions or anything. So no need to review code during the meeting. No worries.
But yeah, definitely do the pull request, because that's the only way that we know that changes are suggested. That's why I didn't see it before, because it's just commits. But yeah.
Sure, no problem. So the next issue I have is about request reply, but I don't know how to progress here, because here's someone else, the how you call it, master or driver of this issue, but he's not really making any progress or is very responsive.
It's definitely missing a champion. I think that's what you were looking for.
Yeah. So I would be able to take over the championship, but then I don't know really what I have to do. I can talk to the other guys, yeah. I can join those meetings, or ask. I already asked for a different time frame, because this time really didn't fit my time zone. I normally have the kids at this time.
Yeah. And if he doesn't get back to you after you ping him, like the current champion, just continue doing your thing. Just keep moving forward. And the same with if you want a specific meeting just for request reply and discussing that, just ping us with this specific suggested time and date, because then we can set up the meeting with live stream and everything completely automatic, the same way that these meetings function.
Okay, sounds great. I will do.
Perfect.
And just to mention something about request response issue, we may have to think if it will be a good idea to just postpone it for version 3, right? For version 3 of the spec, since we're working on version 3 now, such a huge feature might be good to land it on version 3, which, because right now as it is on version 2, as we have publish and subscribe meanings on version 2, it is a little bit weird to do anything related to request response. So yeah,
would be okay for me. Just wanted some changes at the current proposal for version 3.
Yeah, I mean, let's just have the conversation on the pull request, because it's not just our opinion here, but everyone in the community, right? So yeah, just leaving the thought here that maybe I'll write my opinion as well there, that maybe this is something that we should be postponing. We thought we could have this last summer, but since it's been delayed, then probably it's not worth moving it forward, because we're going to be in summer really soon, and then in summer it will be stuck again, and because people are on holidays and so on. So, and then after summer we should be really close to releasing version 3, so we should. so probably makes sense, and also it will be a really good selling point for users to migrate to version 3, right? A good, not selling point, I don't like to say selling point, but like a good motivator, right? So people don't just migrate to version 3 because now publish and subscribe have different meaning, and now we have send, receive, or something like that, because people will not care about this. But if they get some serious feature like request response, then might be worth moving to version 3, right? So So yeah, and yeah, we should try to keep moving as much as possible. Otherwise, we'll have to maintain version 2 for many years. And, so yeah.
That doesn't mean we can't set up the meetings and have discussions about it.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
it's gonna take a long time to align those thoughts. So yeah.
Yes.
So it's perfect
Exactly.
that you want to champion it, Heiko.
Yeah, exactly. All right. That's not the issue. This one. Anyone else wants to add something before Jonas gets into demo mode?
I just wanted to ask what's the latest with the conference, because I saw quite a lot of traffic and then it seemed to have parked.
So this has been discussed on previous community meetings, but honestly, I don't have the visibility. Usually Lucas is the one working on this. And let me check, because on the community repo, there's a discussion. Actually, there is a whole section, I think. Yeah, it's in KPI conference 2022 organization. So this, if it's not here, it's not happening, basically. So
Okay.
whatever is happening is there. Let
Okay,
me
so
also share on the, okay.
Yeah, I did see the discussion. That's what I mean, that there seemed to be quite a bit of momentum and everyone kind of went like, yeah, let's do it in Tenerife or something like that. And then it was like, that was the end. So I wasn't sure whether there was more. But there,
So as far as I know, this has been discussed on previous community meetings. So also, you can either wait till the next one or simply ask Lucas on Slack. He will be back tomorrow, so
Sure.
that will be fine. And this, or you can also yes. So this is the playlist. Yes.
I don't think there's any specific list that details all of the meetings that it's been discussed. If I'm not mistaken.
These community meetings. There is a list of these community meetings.
Yeah, but which one of them?
I think the past two were, in the past two, it was discussed, if I'm not mistaken. If not, something you can do is go to the community repo, issues, you go to the closed ones, label, I think it's meeting. Yeah, so for instance, this one. And here are the notes. So conference discussion, this one. On the one, and actually you should have the link here to the recording. So yeah, so it's been discussed here. Let me share this one. That's all I know. I haven't been really following closely, so yeah, no idea, to be honest. As far as I know, we are discussing if we should be doing it on Spain, like in Canary Islands, in Tenerife, or in Barcelona. And there's another suggestion from Croatia, which I don't think it's taking a lot of traction. But the cool thing about Spain is that we are a few here in Spain, and also we have in Canary Islands we have a community member, Jorge, who lives in Tenerife, so that would be cool, and he is happy to help with this. And in Barcelona we have Sergio and other people, other folks living there. So, and I've been living in Barcelona as well for a while, so I can help there. And
in Tenerife, I lived for many years, and I've got friends who organize events every year, so they probably can, like, I can ask them about venues, etc., because they're
exactly
they're on a budget, but it's probably similar size. So
yeah, so this is this is probably where it is. I will say Barcelona is better, is better connected with the rest of the world. Because even if you don't have flights to Barcelona, you can probably fly to Madrid or any relatively close city, and then from there go to Barcelona. And also, if you're in Europe, then you can move by car or train, so that's easier. So yeah.
Yeah, Barcelona would be more eco-friendly. That's it.
Eco-friendly, yeah. Exactly.
A better choice
And then
on that.
Canary Island, to be honest, I would love it to happen in Tenerife myself, but
For the
it's
beach.
probably because I want to visit Tenerife.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but I'm happy to whatever it happens. So yeah, I'll be happy if it happens in Barcelona or in Zagreb, or I've been in Zagreb and it's a beautiful city as well. So that would be cool. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, these are the options or the suggestions so far. So yeah, if you want to get involved with this, like my suggestion is that you ping Lucas or in these discussions or in Slack, and they will for sure help with it. Today is a little bit of a weird community meeting, because this community meeting is usually run by Lucas, but he's off today, so I'm just I'm not the best one probably to help with this.
I thought you were going to say today's a bit of a weird committee meeting because it's the first one you've attended. yeah, I tend to have that effect. Yeah. It's the first one I've attended. So.
It's not true, but it will probably be true if it's the first one I attended this year, probably. So,
right.
So yeah, not the first one, but yeah, I usually don't attend the one in the afternoons. So,
sure.
So yeah, usually because of the kids. But yeah, the ones in the mornings, it's usually easier for me. So yeah. The kid, by the way. Toma. It's at that stage where she just wants to throw things at the floor and see me picking them up. Hey. So yeah. Anything else, folks? And Jonas, what's your surprise? You're mute.
It's not a surprise. It's just stuff. Can you let me share?
I don't know. How much will you pay?
Nothing. We can just not do it. I'm not sure that's a better deal for you, though.
Damn it. I never get money out of these things.
No, that's the wrong deal you're making there. Can I do it? Yes, I can. Nice. So I've been trying to work a little bit with React recently, because who doesn't love extra projects? So all of you, or I hope all of you, know that this event visualizer in Studio, something that was contributed by Dave, yes, exactly. But it's currently only placed within Studio itself, so you cannot reuse it anywhere. The HTML documentation here is renderable through React, through a component, which is easily reusable, like in any case you want to use it. So I wanted to do the same with the event visualizer. So I kind of made a little bit of a dab at it. And this is using kind of a domain, let's say, it's kind of abstracted away from async API, meaning that it has these building blocks, and then wrapped around those are async API. So for example, for this specific example, it has one application, one incoming and one outgoing connection. So this means that you can define, for example, an application, and you can then define an outgoing and an incoming connection to that specific application. You can then also wrap it with an async API document. So instead of having those manual building blocks, you can then just say, well, here's my async API document. Please render this entire application. Let's change it. Which then, yeah, shows using the exact same building blocks. And then I tried to work with a few different views, so to say, because when you're looking at a specific application, it's okay to just see those specific connections that are connected to that specific application. But what if you have a system of multiple applications? Like, how are those specifics connected? So instead of the application view, I then have a system view instead. It uses the exact same application like building blocks, React components that we defined before. And it still defines these outgoing and incoming the exact same way. Then the second application is just the reverse in this case. So the outgoing for the first application is the incoming for the second one. And then, yeah, it's really not pretty, but it's going to eventually. But the idea is that then you can see the connection between the specific applications and how they interact as well. And the idea is, of course, that you can, again, use the async API document as a wrapper and just provide that, and that's it. But I'm really having some struggle like figuring out how to do the layout, like the automatic layout of this, because it's really hard to do in a dynamic environment. But this is something I'm kind of dabbing at whenever I feel like I have motivation for it. So it's kind of like, yeah, side project.
I actually love it.
But yeah, it's out there, so you can use it right now, but it's rough, as you can see. I just have it in my personal GitHub repository at the moment because it's got to start somewhere, and it was easier than starting in an async API repository. I don't even think it's that easy to get started there. So it's there, it's published on NPM, so you can use it directly. And I just keep dabbing away whenever I have the time. Feel free to contribute if you want. Eventually it will be donated to async API for sure. I just gotta find the time.
I was suspecting that you were going to demo now. Next one will be, and here's the system view where you can feed multiple async API files, and it will render everything out of the box.
Eventually.
Yeah, it is a little bit problematic because you don't know the consumers. You mostly are the API owner. So the relations should have come from a different database. I have made similar by my own using Dot and Graphits to show the relations, and yeah, it was 1 week of tuning to get all the lines pretty displayed.
Yeah, I can't do that. So like, okay, I could do the manual thing and then say, here's all the building blocks, please place it wherever you feel like, and then you can save it, for example. That would be the low practical way. But I kind of want these different kind of system views. I kind of want them to have different kind of layouts, automatic layouts. So using graph theory, you can place them correctly or optimally based on how many connections there are to the specific nodes. but I'm not there yet, and it's gonna take a lot of effort before it eventually get there. So this is just a rough idea of it at the moment. But yeah,
It's true. Graph is a dedicated tool just for solving this problem, and it still have much struggles. So
yeah,
a hard job.
Exactly.
So how is
Super
the other
impressive.
one built at the moment?
Sorry, go again.
Oh, sorry. I was saying, how's the other one built at the moment? There's another one that you showed now that is like nice curved lines and everything else. How's that built at the moment? Another visualizer you showed earlier.
Do you mean the studio? This one?
Yeah, I think it's the one in the studio. How's that doing the formatting, and what's the tech that's used to generate that?
So I have the exact same layout for it's actually the same that we're seeing here in a sense. And it's just in columns, meaning that all of the published channels are in one column. The application is in the middle. And then this one is the third column. And that's it. So it's basically just stacking everything within one column. And it's okay until you have 10,000 channels, and then it's not fun anymore.
Exactly, that makes sense.
So I kind of got to figure out as well in terms of how can you collapse them down into maybe the tags that are defined within channels. I'm not sure how to do that yet. But the more connections there are, the harder it is to visualize.
Yeah.
Unless you try and abstract it in a sense, like showing it in a not as specific or detailed way, I guess you can call it.
What about?
Problem.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, carry on. I have a little bit of a lag, so it might sound a little delayed.
No problem. So I was wondering, like, maybe we don't need those publish and subscribe blocks at all. So I mean, in this like single application view, that's fine, because it's like you want to see what's publishing and what's subscribing and so on. But in the multiple applications, you probably don't want to have subscribe and publish. You want to have arrows in one direction, in the other, or in both, right? Depending if so publish and subscribe will become arrows, not a whole block. So then you remove those two in the sides, and it will be much easier to visualize.
Yeah,
and
so you mean like a connection between the applications alone, right?
That's one way. The other way is that what's in the middle is the channel, not the something like that. Yeah, what's in the middle is a channel, not the operation. Or what's in the middle is the message, not the operation, not the channel. So it's like this message is being published there in this direction, in the direction of the arrow, or is being received, or it's both, being published and received. So
okay, but the MicWorld APIs normally consist out of hundreds of channels, so multiple data types, and so if you have one application connected to another, you have to draw multiple lines with multiple channels. So don't know if that's a good idea. I thought it's just drawing the connections between the API owner, the API consumer, and on click you show all the details.
Yeah,
exactly.
The idea is that you can specialize it for your use case. The idea is not to have one specific way of showing it, because no specific way is the right way in almost all cases. So the idea is to have as many specialized and specific views of this, so you can lay out it in all kinds of ways.
Yeah.
The same with, for example, filtering events. Let's say that you just want to see who is using a specific channel in this or topic in Kafka, for example. Well, then filter all of the events and then see what's left of the view.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to do this. It's just a matter of starting somewhere.
Exactly. So for a huge view, let's say, of a huge graph with applications talking to each other and so on, I think there is the simplest view will be, in my opinion, will be just arrows connecting the applications, and then, like Heiko was saying, like then you click, and then if you click in the connection in the arrow, you'll see more details, like which channels are you publishing or subscribing to or whatever, right? And another option, and another thing that I just realized is I don't see the broker here. I don't see the server here. And that's a problem. And that's probably why it's making it so hard to visualize, because these applications are not talking to each other. This is not true.
But indirectly.
Indirectly, yes, but they're not talking to each other. They're talking to the broker, and then so one is talking to the broker and the other one is subscribing for the broker. But there may be the case where you have multiple publishers in a specific topic or channel and multiple subscribers on a specific channel. So if you put the broker in the middle, I think the graph will simplify by a lot, because everything will be pointing to the broker, and the broker will always sit in the middle. And then
not always. So what I drive is a cluster of a broker. So we have in microservice architecture with micro broker architecture. So there are several hundred brokers around, interconnected by a mesh. Each application has its own broker.
Yeah, you might end up having multiple brokers, but what I mean is that at least it's a little bit more accurate, right? Because it's not true that we're published from one application to another. We're publishing to a broker, right? And also, there might be a broker or 100 brokers. I don't care, like even if they are, but it will be much easier to draw the graph if you have like a column with all the brokers in the middle, let's say 100 brokers, and then you have all the applications. Well, actually, I don't know if it's gonna work. Publishing, but yeah, the same applications will be receiving. But then you can place applications anywhere, all around the brokers, right? The only case where this will not be true is where applications are talking to each other directly, like in the case of WebSockets or an HTTP API, right? In this case, there's no broker, so then connection must be direct between applications. But as it is right now, it looks like one application is talking to the other directly, and it's not.
So would that not make sense to still have that middle block, but that middle block has a connection type? If it's direct, like through WebSockets or something like that, it's just a block to say, okay, this application is communicating with this one. And if you click it, you see the list of sockets that it's using to communicate. Or if it's using, let's say, a broker or microservice kind of broker architecture, like I think it's Jesse or somebody who mentioned that you can just view like a component type of broker, but if you click it, you can see all different micro brokers that form up that mesh. Then you still have both the visualization that this application is communicating with this application through a broker, or if it's direct, it's communicating with this application through WebSockets, which is a different form of broker, if we can call it that, or something like that.
Another thing that I kind of have a hard time figuring out how to do is like mapping these two applications and the channels they talk over automatically is hard to do, because right now I'm assuming that it's on the same server or same broker, and it's that they are directly connected, that it's not, for example, multi-tenancy, where one application does not know anything about the second application because they are two accounts, for example. That is impossible to figure out automatically, and it's kind of, I'm not sure how to handle that.
This might be a dumb question, so excuse me if it is. On the spec, do we not have a means to show like this application is publishing a message and is publishing to this channel or this broker?
Yes.
Do we have that or do we not?
Yeah, we do.
That's what you have, but you don't have who is consuming your messages.
Exactly.
So on the consumer side, we don't have a way to specify that we're consuming from this broker.
Yes.
Because if we have that, that's a way that we can join the two and do that grouping. It might not be as granular, but we should be able
have
to
that.
connect it.
We have that. We have even either for publishing or subscribing, you can specify which broker are you using. And if you're not specifying which broker, it means all of them.
Yeah. So I think that's where we can do the grouping. It might be messy and probably only part feasible on a very high level.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the challenge with like trying to map it to the low level to say this channel for this broker and this consumer and this, that. It might get messy there. But on a high level, we should be able to combine to say these applications are communicating through these brokers using those two annotations.
It's great in the simple scenarios. That's the deal. It's really easy in the simple scenarios, but as soon as we talk the complex setups, that is not defined. Like some of them are not defined within the async API, for example, because it's infrastructure. It's specific infrastructure for your specific setup, and it just because that one application is publishing to the same channel and another one is subscribing to, does not mean that those two are talking to each other.
Correct. That's the thing.
And that's not possible to do in async API at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
You can say it on a high level, but you cannot, like in very specific scenarios, say it.
Actually, it's the opposite. Like there could be a case where I'm publishing to a specific channel, mm-hmm. and that message will end up in another channel, in another server, mm-hmm. but there's no information about this hop between the two servers. Like for instance, say Solaz or Confluent, Kafka as well. Like you can publish a message to a channel using the HTTP API, right? The HTTP connector, and then you publish to a specific topic using the HTTP connector. What you see there is a request operation to an HTTP endpoint. But then the subscriber is going to receive it using the Kafka protocol, not HTTP, on the topic. So those two are not initially interconnected. Those two will not be visualized as connected, but they are. They're communicating to each other. That's the thing. Like that's probably something that we should be allowing to define in the future. Maybe, I don't know, like I think that's something that I think Sergio once mentioned, that it would be great to have like a logical unit of a server or a broker with multiple protocols, right? Or tenants as well, right? So that you can have one is using HTTP, which is the, say, Kafka HTTP adapter. The other one is a Kafka broker itself. And then you can communicate with the broker either using HTTP or the Kafka protocol too. But both of these servers are actually the same server, the same logical server. It's the same logical broker. So it will be cool if we could find this, like there's an HTTP interface and a Kafka interface for this broker. Then I'm publishing to this broker through the HTTP interface, but it's this broker. No, it's not the different one, right? So that will make things easier, and it's something. It's really something. We will be able to visualize this kind of connections, but that is not possible at the time. But it's a good suggestion for version 3. if we keep adding to version 3, it will never be released.
No, exactly. But this is also where it's important, like, to say that, like, the tooling and the building blocks that we use are going to be paramount to this, because just imagine how complex this specific scenario is.
Yeah.
We need tools that does this specific job. For example, Cupid, that is designed for this, but it still has no way of doing it at the moment, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, tooling is paramount.
Agree.
But yeah, that's what I have. That's it.
Yeah, no. I don't like that you didn't load the font, and that's bugging me. And also that the arrows, the connections are not soft like curves. They're
You should have seen it a few versions ago, because then this, like, the CSS was never loaded at all, because I didn't understand that it was wrapped within this root class, which means that nothing of the CSS was loaded. so it was just text on the screen basically, and there was no background, there was no layout, it was just crap. Yeah. Make a suggestion, make a contribution.
Yeah.
And
speaking about layout, by the way, I don't think these blocks should be squares or rectangles.
No.
And I have an explanation. It might look weird, but the way it is right now, if you have to connect, say for instance, the two applications directly, imagine that you have to trace a line in between there. The line will have to go to either the right or the left, but it cannot go from top to bottom or from bottom to top, right?
Yep.
It cannot do this that you're doing right now. It will be cool that you can trace a line directly.
It is possible. It is possible to set it here, and the same here. It is possible.
I'm saying as it is right now, but if you have in and out on the sides, then what does it mean that it's going from the top or from the bottom? Is it in? Is it out?
And how do you dynamically calculate that within math, like with math?
It's easy. It's just a circle.
Yes.
It's a circle and arrows.
It's simple, he says.
Oh, dude.
So
I don't have time to do all your work.
No, that is true. Yeah.
What approaches do you want to explore? Because I can play around with some high-level designs, then maybe show you what I come up with in here. But they obviously need to be constrained by certain approaches that you want to try out and see how they work, if they work.
Definitely. The only main issue I have, or limitation with the library that's being used, is that there are only 4 points of connecting, like edges. So you can only go from right to left or top, bottom, or all of the above.
Is it?
But it's, yeah.
I think I've been playing with that library once, and you can have multiple all around, but you have to define them. I think.
It might also be because I'm using a kind of older version, maybe, because the only positions that you can define here are this. This is the exact positions you can define. And this is kind of like where exactly is these edges going to? I know that the new ones, like the new version, but it's a paid version, so it's kind of limited in certain ways, has some abilities for this, but maybe in the future. But yeah, I'm not sure I want to, I'm going to try to push this to a stable state as soon as possible and contribute it to Async API so it can evolve there. So we can continue evolving it naturally.
Another thing that I realized before I forgot to comment is, if we extract this as a component, as a separate component, not this multi-view or system view, but the one that is in Studio, if we extract it as a component, a separate one, then it can be embedded on the HTML documentation as well at some point. It will be part of the HTML documentation that is generated, and that would be cool.
That would be cool.
The one
I
that
have
is
no-
exported, you know.
I have no idea of the limitations of React Flow, because there might be something there in terms of where it can be displayed. I haven't checked it fully yet, but maybe that would be cool.
Or maybe if not React Flow, maybe another library that will just show the. But no, I think it can be interactive. Yeah, we can leave it there as an interactive piece that is then generated, right? Every time you change the document or every time you export it, you generate the HTML, right? So could be interesting.
Yeah.
So it's not just on Studio, but it's also in the exported HTML documentation.
That's it. We over time as well.
Yep.
Thanks for the feedback.
Gotta go. Gotta jump to another meeting, but still have time for questions. So if someone else is willing to ask something quick, or I can quit and then you, Jonas, take over as you prefer.
If there's
Okay.
no.
Okay. So thanks, folks, for joining. It was really interesting chat today. As always, join the Slack channel if you're not there yet, and let's keep chatting there asynchronously.
Yeah,
That was that's a bad joke, Jonas, not the one about May the 4th.
Yeah, folks.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
I just got the joke. It just came, I think.
Hello, Internet Explorer.
Yeah, no, it's just sort of, I think sort of the message communication wasn't straight. I need to specify it on the API a bit better.
Okay.
Take
See ya.
care, everyone.
That's what happens with poor architecture. Bye.